second? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. No discussion. Therefore, all those in favor say yay. Any against? Any abstain? The motion passes. Our second item is Bill 2022-1381, Parker, Allen, Van Rees, and others. It amends Chapter 5.04 of Metro Code requiring payment in lieu of taxes made by the Convention Center Authority be dedicated to affordable housing initiatives. Do we have a motion? Does anyone want to make a motion? Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any questions? Any discussion? Okay. Neither of the people are here that are on the substitute. Would someone like to move the substitute? Okay, Parker's moved the substitute. Do we have a discussion on the substitute? Mendez. Let me find you. You're on.
What's in the substitute?
Have a copy of it?
The substitute adds some language to add workforce housing as one of the elements that can be funded, as well as a definition for workforce housing, and it makes it clear that the spending, Metro spending on affordable housing, and it also, I believe, adds Barnes Fund, and it makes it clear that Metro's spending on affordable and workforce housing is not limited to the pilot payments from the Convention Center Authority.
Does anyone from the admin table want to add to that? You're on.
The workforce housing aspect of the substitution allows, if the funding were to go to the Barnes Fund, for the Barnes Fund to be able to use those funds to also fund home ownership opportunities, which are currently capped at 80% of the AMI for Nashville. So without the substitution clarifying what workforce housing meant, Barnes Fund would only be able to use the funds if they were to go to the Barnes Fund for rental or for home rehab programs that are capped at 60% of the AMI. So that is the definition that was added for the workforce housing piece. And then the other part of that caps, the substitution caps the HIP program at $500,000 per year. So anything beyond that $500,000 would then be going to the Barnes Fund. And those two initiatives are outlined specifically. Anything else that these funds would be used for in the substitution also outlines that they would come back to council to be approved prior to be able to utilize the funding for any other initiatives outside the two that are specifically named in the substitution.
Are there any other questions or discussions on the substitute?
Yes. Councilmember member.
I'll go ahead then. Thank you. So just, Director Darby, if you could just make sure that I'm reading this correctly. Housing Incentive Pilot Program with annual appropriations limited to $500,000 in any fiscal year. This does not lock that in as being used for HIP. It says it can be used for that up to $500,000. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. That's all I had. I think Councilmember Mendez might have had something as well.
Mendez, you're on.
Thanks. I had a couple follow-up questions. I was trying to get the package open. I gathered, I remember last time this came up, Councilmember Sledge had a different view than Councilmember Allen, and I infer from the fact that they're both sponsors on this that whatever the disagreements was, they worked out since we were here last. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you over there.
I snuck in. Thank you, Chair. Thank you,
Councilmember
Councilmember.
Sledge.
Yeah, I can't speak for Councilmember Allen, but from my standpoint, yes, this was a substitute brought to us from Director Hubbard, who was working, I think, in good faith to try to get our visions combined, and I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Oh, sorry, you're back. Okay, Mendez.
Thanks. I've got another comment after
I'm
this one.
sorry. Go ahead.
And this, just to recap what I think we talked about before, while it's characterized in the ordinance as mandatory, any budget ordinance in the future could simply insert a line to undo the requirement, and it would no longer be used for affordable housing. It would be as a mechanism as simple as that. Is that right, Director Darby?
Yes, in the same sense that all ordinances have the same level of authority. If a budget ordinance came out and did not provide for this funding, then it would not be provided in a subsequent.
All right. Chair, I consider legislation like this to be performative in that we're making a show of quote unquote dedicating funds when we're in fact not dedicating funds for any more than the current fiscal year. And I'm opposed philosophically to that. I think we should collect money in the general fund and then appropriate it. And this functionally does not dedicate funds. And for that reason, I'll vote against this again. Thank you.
Anyone else? So we're ready to vote on the bill as amended.
No, just the substitute. You haven't voted on the substitute yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, we're voting on the substitute. All those in favor? Opposed? We have one opposed. The motion carries. So it is the bill as substituted. May I hear from the ayes?
Motion.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Would someone make a motion for the bill as substituted? Sledge? Okay. Do we have a second? We have a second. Now we'll have a vote on the bill as substituted. Ayes? Nays? The bill passes. And that concludes our affordable housing meeting. Thank you.
And just to make sure.